You know, what was your art education?
Well, so I mean, I did.
I'm glad I remembered that.
Otherwise, you'd both be stuck.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the things that college became for me after that was an opportunity to postpone life so I could learn my craft.
Okay.
And I also learned very quickly because, you know, I was going to New York University and I was on scholarship at the Art Students League at the same time, so I'd be going to class downtown, then run up to town, go to class, go back downtown. You know, it was a very full day, but I liked it. But what I learned very, very quickly from both college and from art school is that most people in that position don't know as much as they should. And I'm being very kind.
Are you speaking of instructors?
I'm speaking of instructors. Okay. And there's a strong tendency for people in that world to want to perpetrate, and I don't mean to be cruel or too judgmental, but it winds up being a kind of perpetration of their own cliche or their own limited idea of what it is. And so students become this object of reinforcement for them. And when I teach, I tell students right away, you know, don't believe anything unless I can prove it. You know? And I also tell them that the difference between an artist and an art student is that an art student transfers his authority, and an artist learns by experience. And because it's a true experience, there's no way that sense of self can be shaken.
Now that's a great answer. It's not what I expected, but that's a great answer. And so basically what you're telling me is that you did have some art education, but you really found yourself through your discovery of art.
Well, my belief is that the great education is in the museums.
I was going to come to that as well.
That there's a whole pageant of history, and the great art throughout history, from the caves to the present, is always about those people who have created a sense of human experience, and they've elevated it into a format that they can share with others.
Into an art form. Yeah, that's great. Do you have any favorite artists, Paul?
If this program is running for a couple of hours, I can share them.
Well, just about one or two, maybe three.
Well, you know, it goes. I mean, I think of this kind of in a linear way when you ask that question. Because I think of it in terms of periods. That you know, I think of Masaccio. I think of the Gothic Renaissance and you know, painters like Hugo van der Goes. Then you know, when thinking about the Renaissance, you know, you can't leave out Michelangelo, and the Venetians are very high on my list. Tintoretto, Titian, Veronese, Bassano. They you know, they're very, very important.
Okay, now I'm going to have to pay attention to some of these people because I never heard of some of these guys before.
No, they're the best.
And I do appreciate art.
And then when you go into the Baroque, you know, you can't think of painting without thinking about Rubens, Velázquez, Hals, Rembrandt,
Rubens, I know
Bruegel.
Those guys I know.
Yeah, and you know, Rembrandt's very, very important to me. You know, I feel that, you know, he's, you know, when you go through art history, you see each one, you know, being like a seminal influence on someone else, and it keeps coming back and back, you know. And then when you move into, you know, the 19th century, you know, there's Courbet and Corot and Constable and Turner. There's, you know, the Monet.
Now, that's interesting because you know, I recognize a couple of those names, but it seems like to me, as a layman, the ones that you hear the most about are the Rembrandts and the Monets, and they're from an earlier time. I wonder why that is. Are they really? I guess, as you said, they're really seminal artists who influenced some of the other.
The thing is that you know, art's about universality.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't change. It's just, you know, who are the greatest proponents.
Okay.
And
you're actually right. Yeah.
You know, if there was when the Impressionists did their first show in Paris as a group,
Mm-hmm.
They were labeled these revolutionaries.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
and they protested, and I think it was Renoir and Monet, certainly Renoir, who said all we were trying to do was put a group together that looked back to the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, and you could see, you know, Renoir at that time was very influenced by Courbet and Delacroix,
Mm-hmm.
and as he got older, he was more influenced by the Rococo, and you know, I feel very strongly that Monet was influenced by the background landscapes of Titian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you know, there's this classicism that runs through everything, and I've always felt that what classicism, as opposed to romanticism, is that the romantics of the art of today are the classicists of yesterday, or the classicists of tomorrow, rather.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I'm running at the mouth here.
That's okay. That's why we're here. Would you say that Rembrandt was someone who influenced you greatly?
I would say that I would love to be able to say that Rembrandt.
That's a good answer.
I think
is there anyone that you feel has influenced you more so than others?
Well, you know, I mean, there are two kinds of influences, and that's what I'm alluding to. You know, one is you know, what you aspire to,
Mm-hmm.
and one that you actually feel that you can accomplish.
Yes.
And you're always aspiring to something, you know, in the hopes that you accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Well, either one. Both answers are.
But you know, that's why, you know, the great masters like a Rembrandt, and you actually see other painters who aspire to it and touch on it.
Yeah.
But you know, that is one kind of influence, because I think of myself as somewhat introspective,
Mm-hmm.
and he's an introspective painter, and he's a very earthy painter.
Okay.
And I think of myself as well. You see, his is a rare combination. You know, while you know the Southern Renaissance seemed to be involved with a kind of ethereal, you know, God in heaven. You know, Rembrandt is like God on earth.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's really, you know, about this world,
Mm-hmm.
and about there's a certain mystical quality, and yet it's of this world.
Okay.
You know, that combination, and I'm crazy about that combination personally.
Well, okay. That's what I wanted to hear.
Mm.
Right now, I think we should take a look at some of your paintings before we go any further, Paul.
Okay.
So, Paul, can you tell me a little about this painting that we're looking at now?